Hola chicos. Ahora vamos a hablar sobre la gramática del módulo 5. So we're going to talk about the grammar you'll see in module 5, okay? The first thing that you're going to see is start with conditions and emotions. This you already know how to conjugate estar, but in this part of the book, you're going to be learning how to use estar with conditions and emotions. Okay, so you're going to be using it with I am happy, I'm sad, I'm cold, I'm nervous, all of these things. Okay, so one thing that you have to really pay attention to is that it agrees with gender and number. So if it's la puerta está abierta, it's one. But if it's two doors, las puertas están abiertas. Okay, so it always agrees with gender and number. Okay. The other thing that we're going to see is present progressive, okay? In English, we use present progressive a lot more than like in different ways than in Spanish, like in more ways than Spanish, I would say. But in Spanish, it's saying what you're doing in this moment, okay? Um, so for example, we have AR verbs. ER ER verbs and IR verbs. Okay. What happens? So I'm going to give you an example of each. Okay. So for example, bailar, to dance. We have comer. I think by now you know that comer is one of my favorite verbs because I love to eat. And IR verbs could be vivir. Okay. So what happens here is that to make a present progressive, you need the verb estar plus the ando, well, plus the progressive, I'll just put. Okay. And so to make this progressive is using the verb, right? You're going to take out the endings. So I'm going to take out all the sorry, the endings, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to add ando for AR verbs. So in this case, if we put this bailar, right, we take out the AR, we're going to be saying bail, right? And then we attach ando, bailando, okay? And if you need the progressive, it depends on the subject, but like estoy bailando. Okay. The same thing happens with ER and IR. You have an ending, right? I'm going to put the ending here. For both of them is the same. So you're going to you're dropping the ER and IR verb, okay? And you're going to put yendo, okay? So for example, you're going to do, oh, sorry, not yendo. Sorry about this. I don't know what's happening. Okay, yendo. Okay. What you're going to do now is you're going to put, for example, comer is without the ER and comiendo, okay? Estoy comiendo. For vivir es estoy and then the ending yendo, okay? Remember, you need the verb estar, okay? Depending on the subject, okay? Okay, there are verbs. Let me make this a little more understandable, right? These are the same. Both of them have the same endings. Both of these have the same endings, okay? And AR have the same endings too, okay? There are verbs like leer, oír, oh, sorry, oír, okay? And traer, traer, okay? That when you drop the endings, right? You have a vowel, okay? So what you're gonna do for these ones that have the vowel, you are going to, instead of using the ER and IR, right? Endings, which is yendo, it changes to yendo, okay, with Y. Okay, so leer would be le and then yendo. Okay. The same with oír, oír, o yendo. Traer, trayendo. Okay. The irregular verbs, which are just verbs that are irregular. Okay. What that means is that which this what means is that they don't go with the rules, okay? So because you don't drop the ending, you don't do what happens with the vowel. So ir, which is to go, would be yendo without anything, right? Yendo. Poder es pudiendo, and venir is viniendo. Okay. These are the regular ones, okay? The verbs that have stem changing in present, okay, will have a stem change with the IR verbs. Only the IR verbs have stem change, okay? So, for example, dormir, which is one of students' favorite verb, which is to sleep, dormir, okay? Instead of O to UE, you're just going to change to U. So it would be durmiendo. Okay. And that's it. Okay. So remember that they all go with estar. Okay. You need the verb estar. Okay. There are other things that we use without the verb estar, but we're not going to go over that right now. So, but when you want to use the progressive, you need the verb estar in present and then the ando, yendo, and yendo. Okay. Okay. So next page, we're going to go to on a page. We're gonna go now with direct object pronouns. Okay. The third thing that you're gonna see on the book is ser and estar, the difference between both of them. Remember, both mean to be, but in Spanish, to be can be one thing or another. Usually said is things that don't change and estar is things that do change, but there are some things that like I was talking with a student the other day, ser estudiante, you're not going to be a student all the time. It's not a permanent thing, but it's still used with ser, okay? Because it's your profession or what you're doing, okay? So just pay attention to the rules of each, okay? The fourth thing that, and what I'm going to explain right now is the direct object pronouns, okay? Okay, these are when we see the direct object pronouns and the indirect object pronouns, I think this is one of the most I see a lot of difficult well it is difficult for students a lot of times to understand this. I'm going to try to make it the most understandable way, okay? that I've seen that help students when they come to in the office hours. Okay. I would think about these direct object nouns, direct object pronouns would be responding the question what. Okay. Okay, we all know what nouns are, right? The things, people, places. Okay, what? Okay, so we have sentences like Ani come tacos. Okay, we have the subject here, right? The subject. We have the verb, and we have the noun. Okay, the noun tacos, right, would be the direct object pronoun. What does Annie eat? Tacos, right? When we use pronouns, okay, is when we want to replace a noun because we're talking about tacos a lot. Like if I'm talking about, yeah, I want to eat tacos. I like tacos. So you use in English them, it, right, to replace that word. So you're not repeating yourself a lot. Okay. So this is what's gonna happen here. Okay. So tacos will become a direct object pronoun if we don't want to repeat ourselves. Okay, so the direct object pronouns, I'll put them over here. I think it's going to be better. Okay, we have singular, which is me, te, le. I'm sorry, lo or la. And plural would be nos, os, los, and las. Okay. So what happens with this? We have, let me put it in the shape. Okay. What happens with this, okay, is that we're going to use these to replace this, okay? Um, a person can be a direct object noun. That's why we have me, te, nos, los, okay? And also lo and la, los and las can be talking about a person, okay? Um, so what we do is we take out the tacos, okay? And because tacos is los tacos is masculine and it's plural, we're going to go to the plurals, okay? It can't be nos because we are not tacos. Os is vosotros, right? Y'all. We're not talking about y'all. We're talking about them, of talking about tacos, okay? So there are different places where the placement of these direct object pronouns are, you have three places, okay? Before conjugated verb, there's always going to be a conjugated verb in a sentence, right? There's always an action in a sentence, okay? Before the conjugated verb, attached to the infinitive. Infinitive, remember, what is an infinitive? It's a verb. I clicked on this, okay. It's a verb that is not conjugated, okay? Or attached to the progressive, okay? And now that we're talking about infinitive, okay, as we were talking about, there's always going to be an action that is conjugated, right? I was talking the other day with a student, okay, because this is something that I don't think the book makes it clear. There are some times that we use the verb infinitive, okay? Like quiero comer, okay? Comer here is infinitive because the action really is what I want, right? And comer is not conjugated because it's not an action. You're not eating. You are saying, I want to eat, okay? Puedo bailar. I can would be the action, and bailar, which is dance. I can dance is it's just what you can do, right? So it's not the action. You're not dancing, okay? So just pay attention to that. And also when you have a preposition, the verbs stay infinitive, okay? So the thing that we used the other day, right? Ir plus a plus infinitive. You have a, which is a preposition, so you need infinitive after that. Okay. In this sentence that I did, the first sentence, the example, okay, only has a conjugated verb, so these two options do not work here. So I'm just going to put it before the conjugated verb, which means it would be Ani los come, okay? Now, if I want to make a sentence with attached to the infinitive, okay, you need an infinitive, so I'm going to put Ani va a comer tacos. Okay. So what this means is in the near future, she's going to eat tacos. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out tacos again. Okay. And it could go before the conjugated verb. We have a conjugated verb, so it could go before that or attached to the infinitive because we have an infinitive, right? So if I put it before the conjugated verb, it's Ani los va a comer, okay? If I put it attached, it would be Ani va a comerlos, okay? You have to choose one or the other, okay? So it's just one or the other, okay? So this one that we have here, let's see if it's, no, it's too much. This one here goes with this before the conjugated verb. And this one here goes with attached to the progressive. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm sorry, to the infinitive. Now, with the progressive, we just saw that in this chapter. So we could say, Ani está comiendo tacos. Okay. Remember the ando yendo. Okay. We're practicing that. And we need the verb estar, remember, for the progressive. Okay. So in this example, you have a verb that's conjugating, which is the verb estar, and you have the progressive. So it could be Ani los está comiendo, or Ani está comiéndolos, okay? And when you add it to the ando yendo, okay, which is the progressive, you do use an accent mark, okay? So it shows you where the stress is going to be, comiéndolos, okay? And so that's how you use the direct object pronouns. We're going to see later on in chapter 6 the indirect object pronouns. So it's very important that you understand that the direct object pronouns are the nouns, right? Nouns that you're replacing, okay? And as I said, it could be that you're using los and last for a person, like estoy recogiendo, like to pick somebody up. Estoy, re- ay, or, a ver, puede ser, estoy invitándolo a mi casa. Okay. Estoy invitándolo a mi casa. Lo can be replacing José, for example. Okay. So, estoy invitando a José a mi casa. It could be estoy invitándolo a mi casa. Okay. Remember with the direct object pronouns, you need to know what is that noun, right? You can't just say I'm eating it out of nowhere. You have to have been talking about the pizza, for example. Okay. So just have that in mind. It's replacing the noun so you don't repeat yourself a lot. Okay. So these are the three places where you can put the pronouns. And just remember a hint, something that could help you. There's always going to be a conjugated verb, so you can always put them before a verb. Okay, a conjugated verb. Okay, let me um close this. Okay, so that's all you're gonna see in module 5. And I hope you enjoy it. Hasta luego, chicos.